Dandavats, Maharaj, yes, we hear.
Okay, wonderful. First of all, Vanchakalpatarubhascha, Kripasidhudeva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Really happy to see devotees today in our English-speaking Zoom. I'm in California right now. Very beautiful weather. We had very nice Govinda Mela Vaishnava festival in the summer with Srila Janard Maharaj and other devotees in SoCal. We had numbers of amazing programs with devotees. There are many new devotees, primarily in ISKCON circle, are right now communicating with us and reading books of Srila Maharaj. It's revolutionary books. It gives them a lot of different perspective what Krishna consciousness is. It's interesting that our gurus, when they came to India, everybody in India knew Hare Krishna, everybody in India knew Kirtan, everybody in India, had understanding about God because India is a Vedic civilization. So, in the Western world, these are all new things. But in India, at the time of Bhaktivinod Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, people follow religion. It's not that they didn't follow. But what was their understanding of spirituality? It's a different thing. So it's also in modern way, people do, some devotees group, they do follow, some Krishna conscious tradition. They chant, they sing kirtan, but the purpose of kirtan and purpose of chanting, and many times has been, I wouldn't say word lost, but I would say undiscovered. And the reason I'm telling this because my experience that people talk about 16 rounds and and I said that's like a Buddhism, because in our tradition we're praying to God. Our chanting has to have something inside rather than just a sound, which means, according to Bhaktivinod Thakur, try to avoid offenses, try to pray in service mood. In fact, the service of holy name is the highest service. And, many times we do this mechanically. So then result is not there. So we cannot blame holy name. As Bhaktivinod Thakur used to say, if you haven't drink the milk and milk become, kefir, that's not the milk's fault, that's your problem. So that is why our acharyas and gurus explain to us not just what we have to do, because what to do in India, everybody has some kind of a guru and everybody has some kind of a mantra. So, remember, India is established based on these principles of guru, mantra, worship, and in India, mainly it's become Mayavad impersonalism. Why? Because it's very easy to become an impersonalist. It's just easy to understand. The personal God, it requires a relationship as a person. And personal relationship is always the most beneficial and most difficult. So it's very difficult in this world to establish personal relationship, especially loving relationship. Lovers are fighting, they're not agree on everything, but for some reason there's attraction. So, personal relationship with Krishna, it's not an easy thing. Impersonal relationship is very simple, because all you have to do is abstract something. So one time I was in Bhakti Fest, so-called Bhakti Fest. There's very few devotees, but it's kind of a spiritual festival run by a friend of mine, Sridhar. He's one of the oldest yoga organizers in America. So in the Bhakti Fest, I met one professor who was selling statues. It was guy who's selling the spiritual deities, and he happened to be impersonalist. And he told me like, hey, I'm a professor, I know everything. I said, so you're impersonalist, but you're selling personal statues of God. interesting. And he told me, yeah, but everything come from nothing. I said, wonderful. So do you have wife? He said, yes. I said, so if you're just come to your home and tell your wife you're nothing, what she's going to do? Yeah, because see, it's easy to speak about these things when you're technically based in some abstract position. But when you're taking like care like nothing, you're nothing. All right. You're not, yeah, like, you're not anything to me. You're just nothing. You're just, so you become very, like, your ego become very much disturbed. Hey, I'm not nothing, I'm everything. So nothing, everything, what's in the middle ground? So in India, just like in the Western world, impersonalism is taking over people's mind because it's been very comfortable to be an impersonalist, to treat, reality as impersonal thing, to believe that reality has heart and feelings and compassion and desires and love. It's very difficult. But when I don't have those feelings, when my life was broken, when somebody's not treating me properly, mercifully, it's very painful. In fact, that's what we're suffering from. We're suffering from wrong relationship or lack of relationship. So what makes us to understand that in Krishna consciousness, it's basically the whole thing is about relationship. And relationship is about not what you do, is how that you do that. So how do you pray to Krishna? How do you take care of Krishna? How do you deal with Krishna? And obviously, that's what Krishna consciousness is all about. But more than people, when they come to Krishna consciousness, their deeper discoveries, it has nothing to do with Krishna, because we're not worshiping Krishna. We're worshiping somebody who can give us devotion of Krishna. That means Radharani, Guru, Vaishnavas, etc. So basically, it's not about just relationship with Krishna. It's about relationship with Vaishnavas, the Guru, and highest servitors of Krishna like Radharani. So now it's even more deep, because when our gurus came, everybody said, okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. But our guru said, no, it's not Hare Bol, it's Jaya Radhe. It's Radharani. And they, okay, Jaya Radhe, like in Vrindavan. No, it's not about Jaya Radhe, Jai Gurudev. Oh, Gurudev, okay, Jai Gurudev. No, it's not about Jai Gurudev, it's about Dandavat Prabhu. Oh, Dandavat Prabhu, okay, I forgot that. So we can understand, in many cases, devotees, they don't focus on what's important because they think in the very remote, very abstract Krishna, like the Krishna somewhere in spiritual world, little boy, blue boy playing flute, and in words of our teachers, it does not come in this way. It's not about abstract Krishna. It's about your position here in this world, how you position yourself with devotees, how you position yourself with Guru, how you position yourself with your service. And the next problem starts when you think, okay, I just chant Hare Krishna, so what is that? Is that holy name, or is that some kind of a sound? Well, you think, sound is holy name. It's wrong. Sound is not holy name. In Nada Yoga, the system of yoga, they describe sound. And they call it external sound, the ambient sound, like we're listening ambient music. It means nothing to us. Then when we talk to somebody and we understand whatever we say, this person is not realizing, then we say, hey, pay attention, talk to me. Then there's also sound of the self, where we're talking to ourselves. So where we have internal dialogue. It's another sound. And there's also sound when the sound within, that's called mantra. So the mantra, Manushya Trayate, it's not some kind of a superficial sound. It's the sound within. Well, somebody say, well, you try to say I don't need to chant anything. No, like you have to chant, but you have to understand the all mantras already exist in the universe. You just have to get to that vibration. You have to allow your consciousness to be receiver. And that's why we chant. Because not like we can pronounce the name of God. God is already exists in his sound vibrational form. But as more we realize that through our own consciousness, see, it's not about with the transmitter. Krishna is transmitting himself perfectly. It's about us. We are the receivers. Something's wrong with us. So what's wrong with us? The mood, the attitude, the consciousness, the mindset. So, many professional, um, coaches, they're talking about not about what you do. Obviously, you have to do something, but how you do, what's your mindset? And the mindset problem is become a biggest challenge, not just from attention. Be attentive. Like, how would you be attentive? Because you don't have a mindset. Your mindset is not proper goal. Your mindset does not have cognitive function, proper cognitive function. And in spiritual practice, it's not just about being cognitive, which is important. It's about what's your heart set up. So our gurus would explain to people, unless you purify your heart, how do I purify my heart? Like what I do? So purification of heart is one of the most important part of Krishna consciousness. When you do this in proper mood of service of Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnavas. So this whole chanting, this whole spiritual thing, come in a way to establish your relationship with devotees, with Guru, with Krishna, with holy name, and entering spiritual ecosystem. So a lot of people that come from ISKCON, after hearing these things, they're kind of like, oh my God, I never heard this. Yeah, it's all written in the book, but the reason you haven't heard this because there's no one explain to you what you have to put attention on. Because if you think Hare Krishna is just a beautiful Indian music, you're wrong. Yeah, externally it may sound amazing, but Bhaktisiddhanta was not about external music. Otherwise, we're a movement of musicians. Yes, every Vaishnava had its own poetry, its own music, its own set of self-expression. We follow the saints. But interestingly, Bhaktivinod Thakur, which we celebrate yesterday, Bhaktivinod Thakur self-expression, it's not a positive, it's the negative expression of surrender. Like the idea of Bhaktivinod Thakur, oh, I'm enjoying holy name. No, most his song, he's showing us proper mindset. I'm lamenting for lack of connections with Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnava. I sincerely hoping to achieve that as a grace. So mindset is not about enjoyment, it's about absence. So Krishna consciousness is not enjoying Krishna, it's separation with Krishna. And Mahaprabhu coming to Gambhira and experiencing deep separation of Krishna by showing his own inner emotions, which is, you don't try to copy this at home. But why Krishna is coming to this world and Mudha Radharani, and why Krishna is showing us, and why Mahaprabhu mentioned this in Shikshashtakam. So what do we do? In this case, we practice. How do we practice? We're trying with hope, with tears, with belief, with faith. Where do we have faith? Well, the faith comes from a faithful, who's devotee, he can give the faith. How do I get the faith? Well, you come in a mood of service and you will receive the faith. So all these things we're discussing with ISKCON devotees, but it's not just meant for ISKCON devotees, it's meant for everybody. And the reason we're discussing this with ISKCON devotees because they believe that by perceiving superficial things in Krishna consciousness, you're going to get, Krishna Prem, which you're not. And that's why Govinda Maharaj used to say that, okay, if you have Krishna Prem, show me. Means like, you cannot just be a superficial devotee by follow things superficially. But then the next thing is like, hey, I don't need to follow anything. Thanks God. Thank you, Avadhut Maharaj. We don't need to follow anything. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is from superficial to official, from external to internal. And that's the teachings of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, which is one of the most sacred teachings of Vaishnava tradition today, because in time of Bhaktivinod Thakur and Saraswati Thakur, things change. Vaishnavism was very internal, very deep. There were Babajis and great devotees, but that's deviated because there's like people could not follow on that deep level, very few souls. So Vaishnavism became a public social movement. But still, that public social movement, need to bring us to proper understanding of Krishna consciousness. And that proper understanding within teachings of our acharyas, such as Bhaktivinod Thakur, Saraswati Thakur, and of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who is a Bhakti Rakshak, the saver of devotion. So anyway, it took me a little bit of time to understand, partially. So I have a gray hair, but still I'm trying. We're all trying. So I'm not saying, we achieve, as we understand, we achieve, but we're moving towards this direction. So anyway, if anybody has any questions or comments, I just throw you something to think of and to understand. This is not simple. Krishna consciousness is not simple. The process is simple, but the mindset and heart set is not simple.
Dear devotees, it's a time for you to ask questions. Don't be shy. Anyone?
Yeah, they cannot ask a question in English. They can ask a question in Russian, whatever, Ukrainian, Chinese.
Thank you, Anantashesh Prabhu. He sent a question into chat box. Dandavad Maharaj Bhaktivinod tells us that he offered himself to the Lord, and that he feels huge happiness. So what is surrender? How we surrender and give ourselves? Is it imitation? I actually can't understand.
Okay, that's a good question. What is surrender? Anukuyasi sankalpach pratikuli vivarjanam rakshisheti vishvaso goptitve varanam tatha atmanikshepa karpanyam shadvidha sharanagatik. 6 times of surrender. Anukuyasi sankalpach. Give up what's unfavorable and accept what's favorable. Like you say, okay, I'm doing too much YouTube, it's unfavorable. All right, wake up early is favorable. So moving towards favorable by discipline. So make a list what's stopping you from Krishna consciousness. Maybe wonderful things stopping you from Krishna consciousness. Maybe say, hey, I like surfing. I surf every day 3 hours. But then you say, okay, that's been my past life. But now I want to spend this 3 hours for my soul. Maybe instead of surfing, where I cannot chant and remember Krishna, I go walking for 3 hours. Yeah, walking is better because I can listen to lectures, I can chant. So adjustment, Guru Maharaj said, religion is proper adjustment. So adjust your life for the favorable. What's unfavorable? What's my bad habits that stop me from Krishna consciousness? Go late, sleep. Okay, I have to adjust this. What's other thing? I have to wake up early. Go late means, okay, that's a bad habit. Wake up early is a good habit. So by removing bad habit, we have to replace with a good habit. And that's the internal work. Then think of Krishna will protect me. It's okay, when I'm moving towards my spiritual life, sometimes I say, yeah, my job is a problem. What should I do? Oh, don't worry, Krishna will find you a new one. as you are moving towards Krishna, Krishna will adjust it, but you have to believe in that. And finally, surrender. Offer yourself to Krishna. Say, Krishna, I'm yours. I'm no longer part of this world. I don't have my own plan. My plan is very short, my physical life. I have eternal plan to follow you. Chakudana Dila Jai Janmi Janmi Prabhu say, I want to follow under Guru and Vaishnavas. So all these things are described by Bhaktivinod Thakur, and they specifically written Bhaktivinod Thakur songs. That's why the song's very important. And going back to that original idea, the highest book of surrender, Sharanagati, which is called Sharanagati, is book of Srila Sridhar Maharaj called Prapana Jivanamrita. This is the most divine book in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya because it talks about internal principle of surrender. Without Sharanagati, without internal principle of surrender to Krishna, that means, like I've said, Guru and Vaishnavas, you will not be able to achieve mercy of Krishna. So Guru Maharaj interestingly described, very interestingly, see, Guru Maharaj is very revolutionary. And he talks, one who surrender may even avoid chanting. You say, well, chanting is Hare Krishna supreme. But Gajendra elephant from Srimad Bhagavatam didn't chant Hare Krishna. At the time of death, he surrendered to Krishna. So there are several characters who did surrender to Krishna and achieve mercy of Krishna. And it does not mean that we should not chant, but what it means, if you surrender, you can chant. Without surrender, your chanting is useless. It's superficial. That's why surrender is the most important part of your spiritual life. So I appreciate Ananta Shesh Prabhu. It's a very deep spiritual question. And, I discussed every day spiritual things by my fortune, in Russian every day. In California, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, evening time in Russia. And, I talk every day about a specific topic, which is now I'm using some reference from scriptures and books, etc. But the idea of surrender is the most important idea by which one has to accept Krishna and offer himself to Krishna. So you not just have to accept Krishna. Okay, Krishna God. Everybody knows Krishna God. All right, if they don't know, who cares? But what makes it different between devotees and non-devotees? The non-devotees, they don't offer themselves to Krishna. They maybe believe, yeah, God exists, but they don't surrender to God. And surrender to God, surrender to Krishna is the most important act of the soul because it's not about physical, it's not about mental. Although physical and mental will combine in this process, but it's about mindset and heart set. So I talk about these two things, the mindset and heart set. So the true surrender has to happen in your heart. And that may not be easy. Maybe at the moment of death, like Ajamil or, Gajendra. That's why we normally surrender to our own ego in our own plan. And sometimes when life becomes hard, then we think about Krishna and surrender to Krishna. That's why Krishna make difficulty for devotees. He allowed difficulties for devotees so that devotees can surrender to him. Now think of this, now we have to function in the mood of surrender.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have next question from Jagannath Priya. She is asking, is it possible to offer your emotions and how would you go about it?
The whole Krishna consciousness is about emotions, but not sentiments. Remember, our mind creating sentiments and instincts, like sexual instinct, or eat instinct, or fear instinct, and the moon coming, and you become crazy because of the moon. The moon is called mind, Chandra, so it creates you emotions. That's why some people say, just shut up and listen. Don't speak. Why? Because you're not speaking to your own reality, you're speaking from your emotions. So don't mislead the mental emotions and deep emotions of love. That is to be experienced as separation, absence. So the deep emotion exists in your soul, the other emotions in your mind. So don't mislead two type of emotions. I hope it's understandable that we have mental, superficial emotion and deep emotion in the heart of the soul. So we're moving to the next one.
Next one is from Ananda Rupa Didi. She's saying, Dandavat Maharaj and all devotees. You said that Krishna consciousness, it's primarily relationships. So please share with us how you build your relationship with Govinda Maharaj as your spiritual guru, teacher, and other devotees which played big role in your life.
Well, what is the true sense? You have to be well-wisher in front of devotees. And second thing, you should think, my guru is my well-wisher. He loves me. Maybe I cannot understand full time, but he loves me. He wants me to grow. He's my well-wisher. What my guru tells me is out of love and affection. Maybe sometimes he tells me things I don't like to hear because my ego cannot accept. But whatever comes from the guru in form of instruction, I have to take very seriously and believe in my guru and serve my guru. And that way I will connect with the higher consciousness, which I'm not connecting right now. I will tell you one story that make you understand the eternal principle of guru. One time, Srila Prabhupada had many enemies. You would think, oh, Prabhupada is a holy man, but why he has many enemies? Who was his enemies? Atheist? No. Materialist? No. His enemies was devotees. Why? Because those devotees were not deeply understood his mission. See, not every devotee can understand deeply what you're doing. And they're looking for superficial mistakes. Like when I discovered that in my life, that not all devotees are my friends, I was shocked because I thought, well, devotees should be my friend, what's wrong? But then I understood, well, it's not like this. So there'll be some devotees who look for mistakes in anybody, whether you Prabhupada or Jesus Christ. And why? Because the jealousy, it's a natural thing. It's very difficult to accept somebody for his imperfections, especially your age or your friend or your group. And then when you do something wrong, you create enemies. So Srila Prabhupada, believe it or not, also had many enemies in Gaudiya Math. They did not like that. So one time he was driving his car, passing Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, his guru Samadhi, and just, give dandavats from the window of the car and keep going. And some Gaudiya people saw this and said, like, you see this Prabhupada, he's so arrogant. He's coming from the West. He thinks he's got the car, he's got the money, he's got the followers, and he cannot even stop over his guru Samadhi. Where somebody told that to Srila Prabhupada, that's what they criticize you for. And you know what Srila Prabhupada said? Yes, that might be true externally, but my Prabhupada, my guru, was always sitting inside me with my car. Means my guru never died. My guru always in my heart, he's with me. Everything I do to serve him. That superficially you think I'm an arrogant person, but I went to do some service on behalf of my guru. Then I had no time. But you have time, you have nothing else to do. So then you can go to Samadhi and give dandavats. I don't have time for it because my guru is not a dead matter. My guru is existing in my heart. So that was the difference. So Prabhupada had real-time guru in his heart and service to his guru. And somebody else considering, oh, my guru dead, then I have to go to, worship my guru. So both of the worships, but living conception of guru is the highest conception. And superficial conception is guru. It's also there. It's also part of our life, but I'm just giving you an example of Srila Prabhupada, who's a holy, saintly man who established Krishna consciousness for all of us. Without him, we would not know Govinda Maharaj, we would not know, Sridhar Maharaj, Bhaktivinod Thakur. We would not know nothing. That's why he's worshipable. But even that he's the worshipable being based on love of Prabhupada, some devotees will hate you. Why? Because they say, "Oh, you're Gaudiya Math, you're not proper, you're like, so it does not mean if somebody has connection with Prabhupada, or like Prabhupada himself, people were jealous to him. And the reason I'm explaining these things to you, because there'll be many people who on their spiritual thing will tell you superficial things and will try to break your faith into guru and devotees. And it also happens in our mission everywhere. And when I discovered that, I was shocked. I thought, I know these people for 30 years. Why are they behaving like this? Oh, I know that person. I helped that person all my life. I brought this person by my hand to Gurudev. Why he's doing something against me? And then I understood this is the nature of the material world, whereas jealousy, hate. So now your question is, if this happened amongst devotees, what to do? So Rupa Goswami explained, you find the devotees that have simple mindset as you, and you work with them. Because the whole India is devotees, you don't go to whole India. Yeah, you say Haribol, Dandavat, but you find the people that you can trust and you serve with them. And that's why my personal relationship with Govinda Maharaj was to always work with people that I trust. And I'm not saying we don't have a conflict or we don't fight or we don't do things. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh, find perfect. I'm not saying find perfect people. There's never perfect people. I said you find a group of devotees that you are connecting with and you continue with them. Why? Because it will be more healthy for you. Because some people tell me, oh, Avadhut Maharaj, you're doing this, you're doing that. I say, yes, I do that. Why? Oh, because Govinda Maharaj allowed me to, do projects and to do things. Because Govinda Maharaj did not count how we do. Govinda Maharaj count results. How you fight your battle, it's according to your strategy. But what's the result? Are you winning the battle or are you losing the battle? Oh, you have domes. Yes, I do have domes, but we built 10 temples. How many temples you built? Oh, I did not build anything. Well, okay, wonderful. So then, you don't have domes. You figure out how you can do that. Figure out how you can work in atheistic Russia. Figure out how you can, run your spiritual mission in Ukraine when two countries in war. Figure out what to do in America, India. You go figure out on your own. And if you criticize me, that's fine, because it's always easy to find something wrong. But, try to figure out what you do. And based on that perception, try to do, something. And maybe you will do something small. Like I've seen some people going to Harinam, and normally they chant for themselves. That's good. We get together and we chant for ourselves, maybe on nature. But when we do Harinam in Russia, Ukraine, there are 20,000 people listening to our chanting. That's the difference. So the difference is we can get together 20,000 people and we can do, spiritual activities, and somebody else cannot do this. So we're not blaming each other. We're just saying there are different ways and different results. So when Govinda Maharaj always approve what I do, not because I do something right. Govinda Maharaj says, rightly or wrongly, Avadhut Maharaj, but he approved the results. So when Govinda Maharaj would come to Russia, one time we had 10,000 people coming for the Festival of India. And the KGB and authorities tried to shut down this festival because they discovered it's not just Day of India, spiritual event. So they came to me and they told, oh, you should shut down your festival. I said, I'm not going to shut down anything. You go shut down. But I told devotees, because we were supposed to, at that time, we're selling tickets, collecting some donations. I told devotees, just let everybody for free. So there was one big line, 1,000 people. I was said, everybody free. So people ran inside the festival, 1,000 people. So how police will stop 1,000 people? And then Govinda Maharaj came with Mercedes and many monks around him, and everybody was shocked because they saw holy man. All these thousands of people saw holy man, and they bowed down to him naturally. And then Govinda Maharaj sat down, and Indian ambassador came. And the police came to me and said, please don't do any religion, please. So I said to Govinda Maharaj, all right, and Govinda Maharaj said, okay. So Govinda Maharaj came on a stage where we had Indian dance and music, and he said, actually, everything you see, the food, the dance, the beauty, it's all come from Krishna. You cannot separate Indian religion and spirituality. The songs we have is about God. The dance we have about God. So it was a victory. And I understood if this will of Krishna and pure Vaishnava, no KGB, no Putin, Schmutin, no one can do anything to you. Why? Because it is will of Krishna and will of Govinda Maharaj. So that's what my experience with Govinda Maharaj, with my guru. So I knew if I try to please him, and then later we repeated many times. So eventually we won't bring Govinda Maharaj to Ukraine. And that time was not available. We didn't have hospitality group. Govinda Maharaj said, I can go to Ukraine, no problem. But there was no hospitality group. Very few people. Then would go Swami Maharaj and other devotees would start preaching in Ukraine. And eventually, we've got beautiful Veda Life Festival, and that festival gave us many, many opportunities for programs and devotees and yoga center. And finally, we have Govinda Land and little temple in Kiev, and now we have 3 sannyasis. And we're not saying that 3 sannyasis are self-realized souls, but we're trying to say there are 3 devotees taking this challenge to go completely to their spiritual life and their servitant life. And, and the other beautiful devotees helping, supporting. We've got the whole community of Russian, Ukrainian devotees from all over the world. So why not to, and yes, they're spread out, but they're all connected by a heart. So that is what I would say relationship with Guru. You try to please Guru, you try to do something for your Guru, but don't think you will not have people that criticize you. Don't think that you don't have enemies. Everybody like what you do. It doesn't work like this. It doesn't work like this. There'll be still people telling, oh, what's wrong with you? People telling what's wrong with me all the time. And I appreciate this. It's fine. But they don't know what's wrong with them because I don't have time. See, the problem is when I do my spiritual life, I don't have time for this. I'm very busy. Maybe I do a lot of things wrong, but I'm very busy because I try. So now I'm not so busy. That's another story. I'm trying to write spiritual books and I'm trying to give a particular lectures. But my main life in Krishna consciousness since 23 years old, I joined when I was 23. I preach all my life. That's all I know. I preach and I involve people and I organize people. So we did Jagannath restaurants, we did festivals, we did temples. So to me, preaching is not blah, 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 talk about philosophy. To me, preaching, all right, so if you believe in Krishna, what you and I can do for Krishna here and today. That's my understanding. Because if we just talk about wonderful things, yeah, that's a wonderful thing, Harikatha, but I see some devotees lamenting, they're showing pictures on Facebook, oh, look at me, I was 20, this is 20 years ago, I'm wearing dhoti, I was Govinda Maharaj. Yeah, that's good, but to me, Govinda Maharaj never died, he's in my heart. Govinda Maharaj is to me like sitting next to me every day, and every day I'm talking to Gurudev, what did I do today, why I did not do, Gurudev, forgive me, or Gurudev, give me blessing, Gurudev, Kripa Bindu Diya, that's the song. So our Guru is eternally connect with us. And that might be coming from Janardhan Maharaj or Madhusudan Maharaj or Goswami Maharaj. I consider all of them servitors of Govinda Maharaj. All of them have connections with Govinda Maharaj. Yes, like Madhusudan Maharaj had very deep service of Govinda Maharaj in Navadvip. Janardhan Maharaj serve Prabhupada since 24 years old. So they're all, to me, they're all like special, unique devotees. And maybe they don't like everything I do, or they don't like Govinda Maharaj. Always told them, yeah, don't mix with Avadhut Maharaj. He knows what he's doing. You mind your own business. That's okay, because they might be doing their own classical Hare Krishna thing. It's fine. I don't do classical Hare Krishna thing. I do unclassical Hare Krishna thing. And again, what works, what doesn't work, that's up to Govinda Maharaj. I'm not saying we should break spiritual principles. We should all follow spiritual principles. But when you're fighting war, like for instance, there's a guerrilla war. You cannot fight directly your enemy. Then you have to think how to fight my enemy. Change the rules, and that is important, because we need to understand what's effective, what's working today in this society. So you're gonna go chant on the lakeside, or you're gonna go chant on big yoga festival with 100,000 people. That's a different thing. So if you can get into the yoga festival, that's why my idea was we do domes in Europe, and we go to all the big music festival, drug music festival, and that's where all the young people, because they're coming to experience drugs. So we have the highest drug Krishna consciousness. We want to give them highest opportunity, and that was my idea. But at this moment, I need a team of people who believe in that. Just recently I spoke with some devotees about going to Japan, and we have some disciples from Australia. They want to go to Japan. And I told them, like, hey, go to Japan. We can preach in Japan. We can do this in Japan. We can do that in Japan. And they say, yes, Maharaj, we want to do. I said, well, before you go to Japan, you study Japanese. So they now study Japanese. Why? Because Japan is not a bad place to start Krishna consciousness. You get a couple Japanese, they're kamikaze. And we need a kamikaze.
Thank you, Anandarupa, for such amazing question, withdrawing such a gem from heart of Avadhut Maharaj. And thank you, Avadhut Maharaj, that on Veda Life 2018, you gave me this Hare Krishna drug on a stage in an amazing kirtan. We almost broke the stage, but after that, I just took initiation immediately.
Haribol.
Jai
That's
Gurudev.
why I have so much hope for you, because you're the girl who can build the stage. And we need that kind of people who can build our stages. Means not just dance and eat. We need the great warriors, the kamikaze, those who will sacrifice their life for Krishna. And if not, maybe today, tomorrow, Europe will be in a big trouble. But after the trouble will be over, there'll be great opportunity to preach. So right now we need to practice our own and get our own understanding what Krishna consciousness is. Otherwise we become just a cult of Indian dress people. We're not Indian dress people. See, we're not trying to promote Indian dress or Indian culture. We have something deeper and way more substantial to offer to the people.
We have two more questions, and I'm happy that we have them. Anantashesh Prabhu is asking if person doesn't understand the meaning of what he is reading, for example, scriptures, is it a result of offenses? And if yes, how to correct this? And then Arjun Das will be next.
It's a good question. So our idea is you're not just getting into the book. Let's say you're need to find out about law. You go to lawyer, and the lawyer will explain to you. Because see, we're not lawyer. I'm not mathematician. I'm not like French anthropologist. So we go to someone, devotee, and ask him. And devotee has different meanings. Like, when we talk about Bhagavad Gita, we start talking about Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who's amazing. His Gita commentary is amazing, deep, amazing, profound. But there's also Baladev Vidyabhushan. His commentary is also amazing. Bhaktivinod Thakur, his commentary is amazing. So Sridhar Maharaj, his commentary is super most amazing. Then you say, well, I just thought I need to read Prabhupada book. Yes, Prabhupada is also amazing. So, but it's amazing, when Saraswati Thakur was asked, how's like your prasadam? He said, one bite better than another. That means you eat prasadam, like you listen good music is amazing. There's more amazing music. There's more amazing music. But you hang up around devotees and gradually you'll get it. It's like, don't think everybody understands everything. We're not Mayavadis. We understand that there's depth of understanding. So my recommendation is you hang up with devotees and you get the mood of service. And in that mood of service and chanting and praying, things will come to your heart. Remember, it's not an intellectual thing. Most people think, oh, you just have to become a Google or GPT chat. No, it's not like that. You don't become GPT chat. You become a devotee first. And Krishna saying Gita, Tadvidhi Pranipatina Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadikshanti Te Gyanam Gyanina Sattva. That's one of the few slokas of Gita I remember because it's by the mood, by the mindset and heart set. So the mindset is to follow devotees. The heart set to follow them with the faith and devotion. And that's where the miracle begins. So the miracle begins when you are properly practiced with proper mindset and heart sets. There are two sets, mind and heart. So both of them has to be adjusted. It beginning from the mindset because the mind is to understand, but actually the true mindset only coming from within, from your heart, where the soul is, where a real true self. So, try to go by that road and you'll discover amazing things. Next question.
Dandavat Maharaj,
Dandavat Maharaj and all the devotees. Today you said about meditation when we repeat the holy names, and today I observed my state. Then during the chanting of the holy names, I heard from you that we can chant in our heart, and I started to chant on my beats, and first it began to spin in my head like some disc, and then it filled my head and came to the heart, and when it came to my heart, it felt like totally, and I felt some trembling of the heart, and it united together with my head. It was like some plant came from my heart to my head, and I asked about it in private messages. And today, when I started to search some answers, I started to search for some literature, and I came to the book of Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur, Bhakta Tattva Viveka, and I have a question. So, Shuddha Bhakti, how can we follow this path, and actually can we be close to the service and to the relation in such a way with God?
Okay, so let me rephrase your, because we have an English program in English. First of all, you've read the Tattva Viveka book of Bhaktivinod Thakur, which is an amazing book. All books of Bhaktivinod is amazing because they're very deep and profound. And your question is about mental mindset prayer and heart prayer. Okay. Chaitadvarpana Marjana Mahadvapani Nirvapanam. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj in book of Golden Volcano of Divine Love explain how the holy name first purify our mind and senses. So in the yogic tradition, in Vedic tradition, there's a stage called Shodhana. So a lot of it, what you know in Hatha Yoga and other mystic yoga, are called Shodhana, purification. You have to purify your mind and senses through breathing, asana, and chanting. So in yoga, everything eventually comes to chanting. But, chanting comes through pranayama because helps to set up mind. In Vaishnava Bhakti Yoga tradition, which is highest, the same principles, but in yoga you end up in chanting, in Bhakti Yoga you begin from chanting. But obviously your chanting is changing. So from mental chanting into the deeper, faithful chanting, loving chanting to your heart, that is the blessing itself. So remember, you cannot do this without blessing of Krishna, because Krishna himself is holy name. So when you pray, you speak with God, and God also speaks to you. So when you pray in your mind, you purify in your mind, you speak to God. When you pray in your heart, you have unity, connection with God. That's why this inner chanting of called para means divine sound, is what real japa is. Japa means silent or inner meditation goal. However, Bhaktivinod Thakur explained that in Bhakti Yoga, to get to that level of appreciation of holy name, you have to be devoid of offenses. There are 10 offenses. And one of the offenses is unattentive chanting. If you don't have proper attention, you cannot get proper results. So that's why many people say, oh, but they're not focused on holy name. They focus on just superficial thing. So in traditional scriptures like Gautamya Tantra, it's explained Parischarana, means the mantra has to bury the power to get you the fruit. And that means you have to properly recite so many times or every day. Why? Because the consistency of practice has to be linked with the tension of practice. Remember, a lot of people talk about 16 rounds or that round, but they're not talking about, they're talking about consistency, but they're not talking about attention or proper mindset or heart set of chanting. So where the consistency comes from discipline, but the proper mindset or heart set come from association, blessing, and faith. You have to believe in things. So believe is not just superficial thing. Believe is a particular type of spiritual energy that comes from spiritual world, because the world is running on belief. So without belief, there is no Krishna. Like I explained, we're like Buddhists, we're like Mayavadis, if our belief is not proper. So as your belief is growing in holy name and devotees and Krishna, and you chant with association, that's why kirtan, because you chant with other believers, that will make your chanting more substantial. But you need to practice every day, whether you like it or not. It's just like, if you're a sportsman, or if you do business, or if you do education, it doesn't really matter if you have a good day or bad day. You have to wake up and try to practice. Or before you go to sleep, you try to practice every day. Why? Because it's your discipline. Remember, every success of life not based on motivation. Motivation, you have motivation after 5 minutes, your motivation finish. Discipline, that's what really lead you from motivation to discipline. So what your motivation for is to discipline. So that's external mindset was important. Then now the next thing is about quality of what you do. That means you're not concentrate on Krishna, you concentrate on devotee and your service. And as you do this with the proper mindset, that discipline will transfer your spiritual life into something real. So you're not just be beats abusers. Like Govinda Maharaj said, they're just abusing beats. Abusing means they don't pray properly. So Govinda Maharaj was not really forcing people to chant if these people had no discipline and mindset. He knew first you have to give them faith, belief. Without belief, you cannot properly do things. So I appreciate your question. It's a deep thing. If you go to our Telegram, I'm talking about holy name. And, I'm discussing holy name almost every day, because it's been, lately important, serious topic, including myself. Don't think I'm not inspiring for that. I'm also inspiring for the proper chanting, just like you. So it's not about, which level you are. Yeah, maybe when you become a holy man, it's a different story, but let's not You know, like to become billionaire, you have to become millionaire. To become millionaire, you have to earn, 100,000. To become 100,000, you have to earn 10 or 1. So it's a long process, but it's a very beautiful process. Everybody wants to become a millionaire. Why? Because they think, oh, if I become a millionaire, I can, do whatever I want. So, but think of this: if you achieve the mercy of holy name, what will be your spiritual potential? So keep doing a wonderful service, and it's not going to be easy. It will be difficult, but that's why you keep trying. It's just like everybody, like Elon Musk, every day wake up and trying to do business. And he's keeping trying. Okay, next.
Dear devotees, who will be next? We are almost not almost, we are hour already of the Zoom, so
Maybe it's good enough for today. It sounds like we had a good discussion. I hope you understand and appreciate what I've said. What I've said is not intention to criticize anyone, just to explain that to you. Even Srila Prabhupada had problems in spiritual life. Even the people who chant a lot of rounds, they have to look at what is the power of chanting, and the devotees who did their spiritual sadhana should understand it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and believe in guru. So all these things are very important for us. And if you speak Russian, you can switch to my Russian channel, and now with AI you can translate Russian lectures in English very quick. I hope devotees can do that. We need volunteers, because there are many important lectures that we discuss in Russian. They can be translated through avatars in English, Ukrainian, Portuguese, Chinese. It doesn't really matter. So I'm sorry. Normally, when I do speak, I record my lecture into ChatGPT and transcribe it. This one, my iPad died. I didn't charge. I didn't record. But basically now you can take my lecture and throw this in ChatGPT, and it will make a perfect document. And if you say, okay, based on Avadhut Maharaj talk, bring some slokas, bring some this, it can also create incredible spiritual document, which can be used as an article. So hopefully don't take any of my offenses. I did not try to criticize anybody. I tried to raise some important spiritual topics about our devotional life, and encourage you and inspire you for spiritual life. My Dandavat Pranam, and those who wants to hear in Russian more, please join me after some time. After 1 hour, I'll be, maybe even earlier, I will be in online with a Russian class. Nadia, Hare Krishna, very happy that you are helping Narayani to conduct this meeting. I see that you are in some kind of a room, which is a construction site, I assume. And good luck. I mean, you have good energy, and that's why I think one day we'll do Hare Krishna preaching and crazy European festivals like Boom and Azora, many festivals there. So, but we need that's my goal actually. The reason I want to do something in Portugal, because it's a beautiful country with opportunity, and beautiful opportunity for community, spiritual community from all over the world. But we need to do some preaching there, and I believe we have to go. Well, already young people, already, because drugs and music is something that drawing people, but they don't understand the nectar of Krishna consciousness yet. Haribol.
Jai Srila Bhaktivinod Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai. Dandavats, all devotees, thank you for joining, for your questions, for your presence. It was a pleasure and honor to be with you.